Well, alrighty then. Tubers, tubettes, and of course, the ever-widening circle of crazy people. Hey, I want to just take a quick second and thank all of those folks that have subscribed to the channel recently, and as well as those that have been with me almost since day one. I want all of you to know that I want to welcome you, if you're new, to the Old Dog family. And for everyone, you guys are all very, very much appreciated. Okay, so when you are engaged or in a relationship with a Filipina, are you going to really and truly improve her life? This video, I'm going to delve into that subject and give examples, real-time examples of real people. I got input from numerous sources on this video of how some guys are coming out here, meeting somebody and doing the right thing and actually making someone else's life much better. And unfortunately, there are some people that are setting their Filipina up for nothing but failure. All right, here comes my video. Alrighty then. Well, unfortunately, the inspiration to do this video is due to some recent events. Recently, myself and fellow expats, we lost one of our friends this week, and he passed away. He had been married to his Filipina for over 20 years. And not only that, but over the last 6 months, I'm aware of 3 other gentlemen that have also met their demise. And their Filipinas are now widows. And the good news is, if you can find any and all that, is that the lifestyle of their Filipinas, all 4 of them, will not change that much other than the emotional and the physical loss and the grieving period and all that. But time heals all wounds, and death is part of life. But I'm proud of these gentlemen because they took the necessary steps in order to ensure that when they did go, that their Filipina would not have to go back to some form of like squalor that she may have come from, or simple, modest means. The problem with doing that or having that happen is obviously the longer a person becomes accustomed to a certain lifestyle, it's just human nature that they start to try to take it for granted. They like the fact that they've got the roof over their head, food in their stomach, they can make a few purchases here or there. I know gentlemen that live over here on all spectrums of the food chain as far as financial ability. One guy that I know gets $1,080 a month. And yet, with that money, he has managed over time to build a small home for his wife on her parents' property so that she will always have a place to live. Is it fancy? No. Is it modern or whiz-bang? No. But it's concrete. It has running water. It has electricity. It's got a TV. It's got Wi-Fi. It's a studio. It's got an outdoor kitchen. But you know what? It was better than what she had before she met him. And so I give him an A+ on that. Not to mention that during the years, they've bought a scooter. So she's got, on his 1,080, she's got a house to live in that's paid for. She has transportation that's paid for, the scooter. And he's still alive. And every month, he sets aside a little bit of money that he can, not a lot, in a little fund for his wife. And it's a little investment fund that hopefully will grow. And I think that that is fantastic. And I think that that is the prudent and the humane thing to do. Selfless. Take a little bit away, put it away, and if you can, 10, 20%, and invest it for not you, but for her, so that when you do go, she may have to go back to work, or go to work. I don't know if she worked before. And she's got something to fall back on. In other words, the rug is not just yanked from underneath her feet. I know another gentleman that was very wealthy, other end of the spectrum, built a big massive house, bought his wife a car. They had a baby about a year and a half ago, and he just recently died shortly after the child was born. And guess what? She's still living in the same house. She's still driving the same car. The child's being taken care of because he did the exact same thing. He had big bucks, but he had investments. He had set it aside. So not only does she own the house and the car and is staying at this much more elevated lifestyle, but she also has an income stream that he set up for her. Again, pre-planning and pre-thinking. Now, there's guys that are all points in between also, from $1,000 a month to $10,000 a month. You got the guys at 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You get the idea. And what I think the biggest thing that is bothering me right now is that I've been observing guys that have been making a better income than the guy making $1,080. And they are setting aside absolutely, positively nothing for their significant other. And they too have a big age gap. It's no secret that the man is going to hit the graveyard well before she is. Here's the other thing that really is spinning me. And I counseled with 2 other gentlemen yesterday before I made this video. I told them what I was going to talk about. And I said, do you have anything to add to it or any input that you can give me, something that I'm not seeing? And they said, yes, absolutely. So I'm going to share their insight with you also. There have been some guys out here that, and everywhere, it's worldwide what I'm talking about. But in these circumstances, they have a modest income, and they're still caught in that American trap of keeping up with the Joneses, or acting or putting on a show that they are actually a lot better off than they really are. They have not yet learned basic humility. I call them wannabes, and it's one of the most selfish things that I think a person can do. If you pull somebody out of a lifestyle that's way down here and plant them now in this big, beautiful house or apartment, and money seems to be no object, and you have not made any kind of contingency plan for this woman. The other thing that these fellows brought up to me was they said, you know what some guys are doing is they are so worried about keeping up with the Joneses and acting like they're millionaires or really well off, is they're buying things on credit. Now, this is primarily a cash society. I can walk into, if I'm going to buy a car, I walk in to buy a car, I have to pay cash, me. I couldn't walk into the Toyota dealership or the Nissan dealership or Ford or whatever brand and say I want to finance a car. They won't finance me. I'm a foreigner. I might leave tomorrow and just leave them with the car, but they will finance the Filipino. And believe me, they're getting very creative out here with some of the financing plans on the automobiles. So these guys were sharing with me that they know of a couple of fellows that have been buying cars, putting it in her name, and the car payment is damn near equivalent, if not exceeding, the rental payment. The rental payment, between the rental payment and the car payment, they are just getting by month to month to month. And so I think that's a travesty. What have you left her with if you die tomorrow? I like to worst case scenario everything. If I die tomorrow, what do I leave my wife with? Well, I've got my own financial plan that mimics some of the other guys that we discussed earlier. However, there's other gentlemen out here that if they were to die tomorrow, they were to have a heart attack or get hit by a Sears bus or whatever the case might be, they have left this woman with a mountain of debt. Number one, she can't afford the apartment anymore or the house, whatever they're living in. She certainly can't afford the car payment because she doesn't work. And if she did work, she'd never be able to keep up with the $200 or $2,500 a month that's being spent. She doesn't have the skills. She's young. She may or may not have a kid. All these factors come in. And so that is, to me, just totally irresponsible. And I hate to see it happen or hear about it happening. And I just want to shout this out to you guys that are coming over here. When you're getting involved with somebody, I'm not talking about the girl you just met and you've been living together for 2 months. You don't have to go call Dean Witter on her account. Okay? You can find out what's going on before you make any sort of commitments or investments of that nature. I'm talking, again, I'm probably repeating myself, but to the guys that are in long-term, till death do us part, monogamous relationships. And really, really, you need to start thinking about her benefits, her future, because her future is going to be a lot longer than your future, except for extenuating circumstances. So, that being said, I asked the guys, I said, other than the fact that she gets the rug yanked out from underneath her, and now she's just got to kind of like give up the apartment and the car's going to go away, and what does she do? What are her options? And they said, well, her options, Paul, are pretty obvious. I agreed with them. I kind of knew the answer. Go right back to where she started, which is usually living with mom and dad and 3 or 4 siblings in many cases. And I said, well, at least she has the opportunity to meet somebody else. And they said yes, but what if they've been together for a long, long time and he's had her with him, or they've been together, say, for 6, 7, 8 years, and the best years of her life have pretty much gone by. Not saying that she can't go out and meet somebody, but the odds were better prior. And if they've had a child or anything, there again, that's another issue that needs to be dealt with. If she has to go to work, now the child's no longer getting the same attention from mom that it was, so now you got 2 people suffering. And number 3, the one thing that one guy brought up that we all agreed on that I never thought of was saving face. Out here, I guess it's worldwide, but out here, posturing and the way you see people perceiving you is, not me, but the Filipinos, is very, very important. And so if one day you're up here and you're able to strut around with your new watch and your fancy phone and your, I don't know, you name it, and kind of, showing off a little bit that you're leading this great life and your life's one big party and you got this great partner, and then boom, that's taken away. There's a huge amount of humiliation associated with that, which can be very, very emotionally damaging to that person. Out here, social media assassination is sort of on steroids. I've heard in the States that teenagers are doing that. They're beating up on kids on social media, and it's causing some kids to do horrific acts to themselves. I'm not saying that would be the result here, but she would really suffer not only physically, financially, but also emotionally. So I guess my plea here is, please, if you're coming out here, realize that nobody cares where you live. Nobody cares what you drive. They just care what kind of person are you. And if they see you as the type of person that maybe takes a back seat to the significant other and sees that you want to make sure that she is going to be at least as well off, if not better off, than when you first met her, then those people are going to be drawn to you just on that, not the size of your bank account or what car you drive or what house you live in. But when you meet somebody that you can see is, as my father would say, putting on the dog, showing off, acting like a millionaire when actually you're a hundredaire. There's a saying, there's the guy that's got the $1,000 truck that's paid off, parked in his driveway. And every time he drives that $1,000 20 or 30-year-old Ford truck back and forth going from A to B, he's kind of perceived as being poor, when in fact he owns it free and clear, and he's kind of the millionaire next door. And speaking of next door, that guy's got an $80,000 Porsche parked in the driveway, and he's making $1,200 payments on it, and he is truly the poor one. He looks rich by the car, he looks rich by maybe his attire, but really, he's got his back against the wall month in and month out. So the Philippines, Southeast Asia, wherever, is an opportunity for you to kind of drop those keeping up with the Joneses and the need to pretend or puff your chest out and be something bigger than what you really are. This is a great place to become humble. This is a great place to become modest. And this is a great place to meet friends that are of the same mindset. I went to a friend's house yesterday to watch the debate. And he lives in a nice little place. It has a nice little car. And you wouldn't know it, but when this guy goes to his grave, millions will get left behind. Of course, he's got it willed out. And that's another thing. Set up, if you really care, if you've got some assets, do the right thing. Go to an attorney. Make sure all the PIN numbers, all the money that you may or have is accessible. Keep it with an attorney. Keep it quiet was a piece of advice that my friend gave me yesterday. The last thing you want your Filipina to know is that you've got $1 million life insurance policy. Not that you're worried about the Filipina, but he brought it to my attention that if the brother gets wind of it, and he may not be the most stand-up guy on the planet, he might be the one that wants you to meet an early demise so he can take a part of that windfall. All right, I'll leave it at that. I think you got the gist of it. When you come out here, by all means, I'm not telling you how to live your life. I'm not judge and jury here. I'm just telling you what I've observed. And I do think it's a travesty that if you come out here and you throw your Filipina into debt and you've no contingency plan, no makeup, I don't care how much money you're making. I think that it's possible if you are disciplined enough and you put your mind to it, that you can save 10% of anything and everything that you have. The gentleman that built that house for this woman on the 1080 does just that. He doesn't even use the entire 1080. A 10% tithe, if you will, goes right into that fund for his wife and for his daughter. All right, kids, I'll see you in the next video.